Howdy folks, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I am your host, the Mighty Bjorn, and today for you I have a Bjorn's Mighty Thoughts video. And today, my thoughts are going to be on Tank Mechanic Simulator. It's been a while since I've done any serious, real Tank Mechanic Simulator coverage, and that's mostly because there really hasn't been any huge updates to Tank Mechanic Simulator. Now, they have added some stuff over time, such as more garage slots, more museum slots, but there's really been no major updates to make me want to come back to Tank Mechanic Simulator since the drop of the M3 half-track. Well, the Generals has posted a roadmap for Tank Mechanic Simulator. Now, they've been hinting at new tanks for a while. One of those is the Churchill AVRE, as well as the Mouse. However, here it is, folks, the roadmap. And there's definitely some vehicles I want to highlight here on the roadmap that I'm definitely very interested in seeing. But this does make me excited because finally something new is dropping that will get me excited to come play Tank Mechanic Simulator again. As you can see, in March they're dropping the M20 and the M8 Greyhound. In April they're planning on the Vickers E and the Little Willie. So we'll finally have some British vehicles. In May, they're talking about dropping the Panzer II and then as well as the Mouse. Now, in the third quarter, probably I would guess, if I recall, third quarter or Q3 is like somewhere around July, well, somewhere after July, like July, August time frame we're talking here. But from what I can tell, this is going to be a paid DLC. I hope it's not much because right now, as it stands, they're only adding 5 new vehicles, or that's all they're hinting to, but we'll see as more information comes available what else they'll be adding with that DLC, if it'll just be those 5 new vehicles or if there'll be new camos and skins and things of that nature. We'll have to wait and see. Who knows, they might even tack on some more vehicles between now and then that they'll be adding with that DLC. Now, I have talked to some of the developers, and from what I understand, this is not just for PC. Now, the Q3 release of the DLC is for PC, but from what I understand, the DLC will also be coming to Nintendo Switch. So for those of you who have Nintendo Switch, there you go. You will, some point or another, be getting a DLC as well, but it's going to be after the release of the PC because PC Master Race. Now, some of the vehicles, I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the vehicles I'm excited about seeing, and one of them is definitely the M20 Scout Car. Now, I'm not sure why in the photo there they had it as M20 APC. That is actually incorrect. It is not an APC. It is a Scout Reconnaissance car. I've actually physically seen one of these, folks. It's actually a pretty cool little vehicle. And actually surprising for its time, for what it is. It's actually not a bad vehicle. From what I understand, the front glacis plate will protect the crew from 50 cal ammo, although the rest of it's 30 cal at best. But I've actually physically seen one of these vehicles, so I kind of wonder how it's going to translate into the game. The one I actually seen was built here in my home state of Pennsylvania. It was built in Bradford during World War II, and it actually served in the European theater. So I'm definitely very curious to see this vehicle in game because I've actually physically seen one. I mean, we already have the Sherman. I've seen quite a few Shermans, but it would definitely be cool to see the M20. Another vehicle I've actually physically seen and even have done a tank talk about is the M18 Hellcat. For those of you interested, I will put a link in the video description below so you can go check out my live tank talk where I'm actually talking about the M18 Hellcat. They actually have one of these in Carlisle, Pennsylvania at the U.S. Army Heritage and Education Center. And this is another vehicle I've actually physically seen. I've seen the driver's area. I've seen inside the turret as well as I've seen the engine area. So I'm very curious about how this vehicle is going to look and how well they do with the model itself. Another vehicle I'm really curious about that they're talking about bringing in is actually the Mouse. And this is more about how far done the Mouse actually got complete, which the Mouse never really got completed. And actually what we have still is the only mouse that's still in existence of the two models is actually a marriage of the two models together. The Russians actually had captured it, and the vehicle sits in Kubenka Tank Museum, and they had a hull, and they actually had the turret from the one they destroyed, and they merged the two together. But it's not, none of it's completed, and because it's a prototype, it doesn't have things like, well, track skirts that can be removed. So getting to the suspension is going to be very interested in seeing how they translate that to Tank Mechanics Simulator, especially to work on the tracks. I'm very curious about how that's really going to work out. The other thing that's also got me curious too is the tank range. Understand that this has a 128 millimeter gun with a coaxial 75 millimeter main gun, or sorry, not main gun, but a coaxial anti-tank cannon. And I'm definitely very curious about how that's going to work on the tank range. If you'll have access to both the 128 as well as the 75, things like that. And I just personally, I wonder how it's even going to fit in the garage or the museum. Understand that this thing is huge. I mean, this thing is even bigger than a Tiger tank, and a Tiger tank is not a small tank by any feat of the imagination. Now, the one tank I'm not so excited about is the Tiger 2. Yeah, I'm kind of excited about seeing a Tiger 2, but overlapping suspension, man, I had enough of that with the Panthers and the Tiger 1s, and actually it got to the point where I just absolutely refused jobs in the game for Panthers and for Tiger tanks. And if I so happen to salvage one out in the yard, out in a recovery area, I basically recover the vehicle, bring it to my shop, clean it up as much as I can, and sell it. I don't even bother repairing them. Basically it's just one of those, okay, I just want to make enough money off this thing just to break even. Otherwise, I want nothing to do with this vehicle whatsoever. But I'm definitely excited. It's been a while since I've done any coverage or talked at all about Tank Mechanics Simulator. It's nice to finally see some new content coming our way, even if it's still a few months out before we see it all. I'm still stoked, and unless they ask for some kind of ridiculous amount of money for the DLC, I'm already locked in. I'm ready to buy that DLC. Let's make this happen. Let's get some new tanks in the game, and I want to get mucking around in the grease pit again. But anyway, folks, that is the end of my video and my coverage for the new Tank Mechanics Simulator roadmap. Hopefully everyone enjoyed the video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and have yourself a wonderful day.